Hey, good Thursday morning, everybody. Doing our live stream a little bit earlier here today for you, given the quiet weather that we are going to be anticipating this afternoon. Meteorologist Brett Waltz here, giving you this live update from our home office here in Greenwood, Indiana. Hey, before we get into the forecast, wanted to be sure to thank our sponsor, Ray Skillman, GMC and Buick, out on US 31 South. Be sure to go say hi to Colt and tell him that BAM sent you. But I wanted to start off this live stream a little bit different today. I wanted to start off by discussing a commonly misunderstood weather phenomena, and that is the polar vortex. A lot of times during winter, when we get these big cold blasts, we often hear about the polar vortex and how it's coming to our backyard, when in reality, the polar vortex is a feature that's pretty much always stuck up over the pole in the stratosphere, not in the troposphere where we live. So what often is misunderstood is we can get lobes of the polar vortex in the troposphere that can break off and lead to big cold shots. But typically speaking, the core of the polar vortex is usually located here over the pole year round. It's not just in winter. The polar vortex, that low pressure circulation, is generally there even all year round, though it is definitely strongest in the winter. Now, sometimes you can get those breaks where you split the vortex into two, but still doesn't necessarily mean that it's coming to your backyard. It doesn't mean that there's a polar vortex overhead. It's just a term that meteorologists often use to discuss what is causing some of the more potent cold blasts. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. In fact, if we go over to our map here, if we go to the 500 Kirk down on the Earth symbol, we can actually show you, we can find a couple of those polar vortex lobes. Obviously right now we've got an extremely strong polar vortex, but if we go to 500 millibars, way up in the atmosphere, halfway up into the atmosphere, if we take a look here, we may be able to find a couple of those polar vortex lobes. You can see one here. Note where it's at though. It's in the Arctic, right in the middle of the Arctic, and don't have a whole lot more than I'm being able to pick out right now. That's pretty much the main one. Oftentimes when we get a disturbed polar vortex, we'll get numerous of these. One here, we can get them sent down into the US, into Eurasia, but right now, the very strong polar vortex state is keeping all of that cold air locked up into the Arctic. So let's move on to our forecast here as I step back and grab my clicker. But wanted to start off by just giving you all another look at our weather porthole subscriptions. Again, these run from as low as $20 a month to any numerous different settings that you can have if you want lightning data. Guys, this is the best lightning data in the business. It is extremely fast. It can send you text alerts right to your phone, not to mention the 36-hour forecast that you will have access to, as well as a 9-day forecast. This is proprietary data. We're constantly watching, massaging the data, making sure it's the very best data available for our clients. So if you're a golf course, if you're in the event industry, if you're a school, this would be great for you all. And again, it's data that nobody else has right now, and it is the newest and greatest technology that is in the market, and we're really excited to be able to share all of that for you. And that's just a couple of the features that it has. I mean, we're talking about access to our long-range outlooks. We're talking about a very high-resolution radar that filters out some of that fake precipitation that often shows up on some of those free weather apps. If you ever have looked at a weather app and it's showing rain over your location, yet nothing is falling from the sky, our radar is designed specifically to cut that out. And I know that's a big deal for those of you that are working for golf courses or events, because you don't want rain showing up on the radar, getting people to leave or whatever it may be that could cause delays or unnecessarily delays for your event. So anyway, just wanted to touch on that here for a second, but let's move into what we have for the forecast today. Wanted to start off by taking a look at what was going on last year on this date. Take a look, February 20th, 2019, we had lightning and freezing rain across central Indiana. That is not something you see very often, is lightning when freezing rain is falling just east of Bloomington there towards the Columbus and Seymour areas. We also had some thunder snow in Ohio. What a difference a year makes as we have very quiet and calm weather today. Wanted to go into, though, our spring forecast ideas for severe weather. So we did a lot of research this morning, taking a look at some of our best analog years and how they performed with severe weather throughout the spring. If we take a look here, all the way to the left, you can see our top 4 analogs right now for spring, and you can see all of the years since 1990. Right now, our top analogs are actually suggesting a more active than normal tornado season across the United States for March, April, and May. That's pretty interesting. It's been a while. If we take a look here at some of the more recent years, you can see it's been a while since we had a big active severe weather season. Really, 2017 wasn't all that bad, but it was really 2011 was the last one that was well above normal, and then 2008 before that. But our analog years here are certainly suggesting a little bit more of an active tornado pattern as we work into spring for the continental United States. Now, it's not that cut and dry though. It's, we've got the 1 year here. 2005 would be the risk on the lower end. And if we take a look at some of the warmest years on record, this is the warmest winters on record rolled into spring. You can see they actually favor below normal tornado activity in spring. So that gives us a little bit of a conundrum where we've got our top analog suggesting above normal tornado activity and the warmest years on record. And this winter will end up being one of the warmest winters on record, suggesting below normal. And I really think it's going to come down to how fast we can get rid of this El Nino-like forcing. If we work over the next month or so and start to see that forcing really begin to weaken, I think that we could be looking at a more active severe weather season and a more active tornado season as we work into spring. If we just look at our top 4 analogs here, you can see where the core of the tornado season set up. And it's especially across the eastern plains and into the Missouri Valley for the majority of these years. 91 is a little bit further west, and you can obviously see 2005 being the weaker of the 4 analogs, and that's a year that held onto that El Nino forcing a little bit longer, while 2003 transitioned out of it faster. So that is what we are going to watch, and we'll keep you updated on how severe weather season is looking over the next couple of weeks. But talking about the weather just the next couple of days, we still have this high pressure in place today all the way through Saturday, really even into Sunday. Should see abundant sunshine, going to be some great weather for your weekend. If we take a look here at our next slide, temperatures Saturday into Sunday, we're talking about temperatures up into the mid to upper 40s for your Saturday with abundant sunshine. It's going to be a phenomenal day. And take a look at Sunday. Data has kept trending warmer and warmer with this over the past couple of runs. We're talking about mid 50s possible for the majority of Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio on your Sunday, with pretty good amount of sunshine. May have some more clouds working in the second half of the day on Sunday, but I really think it's going to be a great day to get outside and enjoy the weather before we start to work in some more active weather into early next week. We're going to have a low pressure system that sets up over southern portions of Missouri into Illinois. A warm front will start to work into the area, and along this, I think that we really increase our moisture chances. We've got a good source of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and I think that our rain chances are going to increase for your Monday. If we take a look at our simulated radar, I don't know why it's doing that, but as we take a look at our simulated radar, you can see as we push into Monday morning, precipitation will continue to work through the area. I think that Monday as a whole and into Tuesday are pretty soaked days. Now, it's not going to be an extremely heavy rain event. It's a pretty steady light rain, which is much better than what we've seen some of this winter, because when we've gotten those deluges of rain, obviously creates issues with flooding. This is going to be a much steadier rain, with generally amounts of anywhere from a half an inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch, especially the further southwest that you go in the Ohio Valley. So not a huge deal, but yes, we actually do have some weather to talk about as we work into early next week. As far as snow chances, as you can see here on the sim radar, not looking very impressive at all. I think it's going to be way too warm for rain chances. If anything, it's going to be way to the north, up in northern portions of Illinois, maybe mixing in at times as we work on the backside of this event for northern Indiana. But as of now, not looking like anything impressive wintry wise. So with that being said, happy to take some of your questions. Let's see who we have on here today. And hey guys, I'm wearing my BAM hat today. I wanted to be sure to give a shout out to M2. if Kirk will put on the, we did put a little banner on there for them because they're going to help us actually build a store, an online store where you all can hopefully buy our hats and other products. And I know that a lot of you have asked about that, and we really, really appreciate Greg here that is helping us set up this online store. He reached out to us, and we really appreciate him being able to help us out with that. So if you have any needs like that, be sure to go email him there. And again, we want to thank M2 Productions for helping us with our online store, which will hopefully be available sometime soon. We'll keep you updated on that, but let's take a look here at any questions that we may have. Week 3 and 4, I think that it may start off a little bit on the cooler side and start to trend warmer as we work further into March. Travis says snow for northern Indiana next week. Travis, it's too soon to tell for sure, but I'm not liking the chances right now. I think the better chances are going to be further off to your northwest. Travis says it's too early, people, way too early. Hey, it's almost lunchtime for us. I mean, it's what, almost 11 o'clock here? We go on lunch at 11, so I wanted to get it in before lunch today and just see who was going to be on today, you know, how many people were going to be on. We're trying to test out to see when people are most available to be watching. Let's see, Patty says, hey from Crawfordsville. I'm hi from Noblesville. Let's see, Barb says southeast of Indy. Hello, Barb. Hello, Tony. Thank you all for tuning in. Tabby says, any thoughts on other weather guys predicting March is going to be snowy and possibly the slowest for winter? Not sure what you mean by the slowest for winter. I still am not convinced that we're going to have any big snow time, even with this cooler stretch to end February and begin March. The pattern still isn't looking all that active. I'm still not liking it as a very favorable snow pattern. So we'll keep you updated on that. But as of now, I don't really see that, because even though we may get cooler for a time, I'm not necessarily sure that it's a favorable setup for snow events here in the Ohio Valley. We don't have a big phased jet stream like I think that we need to really produce some big hitting winter storms around here right now. And we also, the other big issue, and I know that we've talked about this a lot, the other big issue is that our Arctic oscillation and that polar vortex that we showed you at the beginning of this live stream, it's very strong right now. That true Arctic air is still locked up over the Arctic, over the pole, way away from the United States. And that makes it difficult to really draw in those good cold air sources into storms. And when we don't have that, especially the further into winter we go, it makes it very difficult to get winter storms. And so unless we see something major change with that, and I don't think that we are, still not liking our chances for a good cold source to produce snowstorms. It's just not there right now, guys. And I don't think it's going to be there for the rest of winter. Could we get a random surprise, a storm system that draws in its own cold air? Yeah, that's always possible into March. It's just still just cold enough to do that, but I'm not seeing a super favorable pattern, especially since we're working against the warming climatology for this time of year. So let's see, any other questions? Steve says, seems like we are overdue for an active tornado season. Yes, it has been a very long time since we've had a really active season around here, really since 2012. We had a couple of events, I think, in 2013, but aside from that, it's been a long time. Unfortunately, we are overdue, but the good news with that is that if the severe weather season does pan out, if it is a little bit more active, we can show you more of our tools on our weather portal or weather porthole, and hopefully we can get up here and do some live break-ins on the green screen. That's one thing that we're excited about, is to be able to do some live break-ins for you if there is severe weather. So hey, if you're watching a TV show, you can tune into us, watch that TV show at the same time. You don't have to worry about missing what you're watching. So hopefully we can get more and more people to come in on here when we're going to be doing those severe weather updates this spring. Fox59 said accumulating snow Wednesday into Thursday. Thoughts? I think that's really silly at this point. I mean, we're talking about a week away. I think that's really silly to put out there at this point. Guys, it's one run of the European model last night tried to put in some snow across northern Indiana. The last run had nothing. So we cannot go based off one model run, especially when all of the ensemble data is way further to the north. I am extremely skeptical right now of that happening. Of course, if we see anything different, we'll be sure to let you know, but right now, not liking the chances for that, and it's way too early to get any specifics on precip type that far out. I do not agree with that right now.
Have we talked about hurricane season yet?
Yeah, we talked a little bit yesterday about hurricane season, how if we continue to drop the Enso state faster into summer, could lead to a more active hurricane season, especially considering our ocean waters right now are very warm in the Caribbean. Could be another season that we get storms develop rather close to the coast like the last couple of seasons, rather than way out into the Atlantic like they typically do. And that's just because of the natural state of the ocean right now in the Atlantic. Travis says maybe 2 to 4 inches. No, Travis, nope, way too early to do anything, to talk anything like that. And I'm not favoring it right now. Is spring looking wet like last year? I don't think it's going to be as wet as last year. There may be wet times, maybe especially into May if we hang on to the Nino forcing a little bit longer, but I don't think that it's going to be as wet as last year. Joshua says, I like you guys a lot. I wish that we could get a really hard winter because I think it'd increase your business activity and bring you a chunk of new business. Thanks, Joshua, for the comment. And yeah, I mean, we love getting on here when there's winter weather going on. It's a lot of fun for us, and I know it's fun for you all to be tracking it. So, you know, maybe we could get one more storm. I'm not super optimistic about it at this point, but as usual, if there is something, we'll be here and we'll be keeping you updated. So that's all I have for today's forecast. Guys, again, thanks so much for tuning in. And again, if you are interested in a hat, we should have more of those. A store coming at some point soon. Should be getting in on those. And want to again thank our sponsor, Ray Skillman Auto Center on US 31 South. If you're interested in GMC or Buick, you know, it's kind of getting into that time of year where folks are going to be buying cars. Be sure to go check them out and say hi to Colt and tell them that BAM sent you. So hope you all have a great rest of your Thursday and enjoy the nice weather out there.